WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News This Morning live stream starts now.
Good morning and welcome to our Action 2 News This Morning live stream. I'm Tammy Elliott.
And I'm Emerson Lehman. It is day 3 of our new live stream. We've been enjoying it so far.
Doing well.
And in 3 days, we've had 3 first alert weather days because it has just been so frigid outside, so cold. We've got first alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Balon joining us. And Steve, it just hurts to walk outside, just so cold out there.
You know what, it's kind of painful, especially on your face, you know, where the wind stings it.
Yeah.
You know what, every time I open up my garage, you know, because it's so cold, the metal, there's that that grinding
Just
sound.
sounds painful, yeah.
You actually can hear the metal kind of popping as the hinges move. Yeah, so it's just really cold outside. We continue to be under a wind chill advisory till 9 o'clock this morning from the National Weather Service. Our wind chills will be mostly 10 to 25 degrees below zero. The actual temperature is 1 below in Green Bay, but with a southwest wind at 9 miles an hour, it doesn't really feel like 1 below. The wind chill is actually 16 degrees below zero, 17 below in Appleton. And the Golden Icicle Award this morning, Fond du Lac, congrats to you. The wind chill is minus 21. Of course, I'm joking around by saying the Golden Icicle Award, but we want people to take it seriously enough and dress warmly as they head outside this morning.
Yeah, we're thinking, about kids who are going out to the bus. We didn't have any school delays or cancellations in our viewing area this morning, but it's dangerously cold out there.
Yeah, I mean, the actual low temperatures, they're frigid, but maybe not quite as low as they were at this time yesterday. And when we talk about wind chill, that's how it affects our human body, not so much the buses. So, it's not quite as bad for the buses getting them started up, especially if they have the proper fuel in there. But you know what, with the wind chill perhaps getting as low as minus 25 this morning, frostbite is possible on exposed skin in about 30 minutes. So our severe weather outlook is really on the edge of being low to moderate. Later today, we'll see a high of 9. That's a +9. I do expect a partly sunny sky. You'll have some sun mixed with some cloud cover at times.
And you wanted to just blend right in with your background there, Steve. You got your pink tie on. I mean, those pink shades on the graphic there, that just shows how cold it is.
Thinking pink, right. The high temperatures today will be close to 10, 25 really is normal. So we're about 15 degrees below normal with our high temperatures. Wind chills in the teens below zero this morning, single digits below zero as we go into the afternoon. But I want to give you guys a little glimmer of hope because I know you're not a big fan of the frigid air. Milder winter weather is coming back soon. Not today, not tomorrow, but next week. There's going to be some melting of the snow and the ice. It's not going to completely disappear, but the snowpack will dwindle a little bit. We're at 16 inches, and it may drop back to the single digits as far as the depth in the snowpack. So right now, the jet stream is coming out of Canada. The Arctic air continues to flow into the Great Lakes. But as we get towards the weekend, the jet stream is going to come off the Pacific. That's milder air that moves across the country and eventually into the Midwest. As we get into Monday and Tuesday, our high temperatures will jump back up into the 30s. So this is the cold week. Last week was the snowy week. Remember how it was before that, when it was this mild El Nino-driven weather pattern? We're going to be getting back into that next week.
And you were saying you were looking forward to snowmobiling.
Yeah.
So you were wondering, okay, we got the snow.
I would like maybe a little in
outside.
between, Steve. We don't need the rain. Like, that can stay away, but just warm things up a little
Maybe
bit.
enough for you to not freeze your keister if you're outside, right?
Exactly.
I think if you can get out this weekend, highs will be in the mid to upper teens. That's not so bad. But yeah, the snow will probably get kind of slushy with our high temperatures getting above the freezing mark as we go into next week. And there's also some rain in there, Emerson, as well.
No rain.
Not happy.
All right.
That's weather. You
Steve.
can't make everybody happy.
I know, that's what it is, but at least it'll have a little bit of warm up. That'll be
Right.
nice.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. And so we know we've been talking about the importance of being safe in this. And obviously, we've been keeping you up to date on warming centers that are open in our area.
Yeah, and we practice what we preach. We have Kristen Allen in our newsroom this morning just to keep her and our photographer out of the cold. And Kristen, what warming centers are open in the area today?
Well, there are several that are open. Of course, yesterday we told you about the warming center at the Salvation Army of Greater Green Bay. That is open again today as well, and that opens at 8 o'clock this morning and is open until 4:30 p.m. will be open through the rest of the week. And then we told you about some in the Fox Valley yesterday, and I did a little digging yesterday to try to find out what else is open, and there's a couple more in Green Bay I want to tell you about, and that is the Micah Center and Wellspring. And those are our daytime resource centers that are available for people after the St. John's Emergency Shelter overnight closes. So those are part of St. John's. They're open during the day, and they are daytime resource centers. So anybody can go there to warm up. You don't necessarily have to be staying at that shelter overnight to go there during the day to warm up. So there's people who, the reality is that there are people who are living in their cars. So if they want to go there during the day to warm up and not run their gas, they can do that. There's other people who are living on the streets, even who aren't even in shelters, that can go there as well. So anybody who just needs to warm up can go there.
And are there any other additional resources, Kristen? Of course, helping people warm up, but any of the resources that are available at these facilities?
There are. The Wellspring and also the Micah Center already serve as daytime sort of resource centers. So there are case managers on hand there that can help people with certain barriers that they're facing. So finding jobs, perhaps. I believe there's computers there that people can use. They can help people get health services, figure out housing. And if they can't do it there, when I spoke to someone on the phone yesterday, they said that they can contact their partner agencies in the community and figure out the best path to put somebody on to be able to get, help for the barriers that they're facing.
And then one other thing, I know you were out at the Salvation Army at their warming shelter center yesterday, and you were telling us today is the day somebody can get a free coat. I mean, we spend all this time, we do coats for kids and here at WBAY, and so they have some leftovers.
They do. I did mention that for the first time yesterday during our live stream yesterday, but I thought it was worth mentioning again today when I was just there chatting with them. They told me that they got a lot of coats during the Coats for Kids campaign that happened in the fall, which is great, but they have some that are left over. So, during the cold weather right now, obviously people need anything they can to bundle up. So if people are in need of coats, and they do have adult and child sizes, every Wednesday starting today through March 20th, you can go to the old thrift shop, which is located at 1125 West Mason Street in Green Bay, and they'll be giving out coats for free. The only thing that you need is an ID and then proof that you live in Brown County. So if you didn't get a coat before, maybe your kid grew out of the coat, ripped the coat, it adds up too if you have multiple kids trying to buy coats, and just making sure they want to make sure everyone is warm. So it's really an excellent opportunity for people who are struggling and need coats.
All right, Kristen, thank you so much. Great information during this
important.
cold snap like this. And to our next story, we've got Emily Roberts joining us here, and I love this story. I think this is so cool. We're talking about the Sherp.
Yeah, and I mean, you got an opportunity to check this out, and it's with the volunteer fire department in Winnebago County.
Right, WBAY Volunteer Fire Company, and add Sherp to your vocabulary list because this could really catch on. You'll see some videos coming up here, but I got to ride along with the WBAY Fire Chief, and they took me through all sorts of terrain. It's really amazing what this Sherp can do. We went through a little bit of water. We pushed through some cattails. It can handle rocks. The fire chief tells me it can even go over cars. So this can really handle anything. It is specifically meant, though, to make a difference in terms of ice and water rescues, which we know WBAY, Lake Poygan, that's a big deal over there. So this really is going to help out.
I think we have some video. Let's take a look at that video here.
So that's me. You can see I look kind of small there, and that is the WBAY Fire Chief. So he's driving me along here. In a moment, we're gonna go through this terrain. You can see it just goes.
It's so big. Those wheels are huge.
Right. I mean, you can see there was that latch on the back. You can get a little look at it right now, but to get in, that's how we actually, right here,
there.
He pulls it down, and there's a little ladder. And I mean, it's bigger than I could describe to you. It's hard to comprehend, but I was climbing, so this is a big thing.
And this is something, go ahead,
well, I was just going to say, you think about all the people who do all outdoors activities, and if, we've heard about this, they have to use ATVs and rescues to get to terrain where, it's more difficult for a vehicle or something. That's where something like this would come in handy.
100%. Water, land, anything. It can go right through mud. This really is multi-purpose. I think the fire chief described it as amphibious, so if that gives you an idea as to what this can handle, it's a pretty big deal. I know when we think about those ice and water rescues, we really think a lot about airboats and boats in general. He tells me that this is not meant to replace an airboat. This can do things the airboat can't. This actually has a heated cab. So we talk a lot about those cold temperatures this week especially, and when those first responders are going in and out of the water, it can be frigid. And with a heated cab like this that you don't have on an airboat, that is so helpful to warm up those first responders, but also make sure the victims are comfortable when they're getting back to land.
And you used a cool comparison when we were talking about this earlier, the Wisconsin Dells ducks. I think a lot of people have maybe ridden in those or at least seen them before, but this can go, it can float, it can do all sorts of things like that.
Right, I didn't get a chance to go into the lake or anything like that just because of the conditions when I was with the fire chief, but this has the capability to inflate and deflate those tires, and like you said, that can help it float, as well as the actual way that it's built can help it float.
Did you mention how they got this?
I did not yet. Very, very cool. A friend of the fire department, this is all donations.
Wow.
So a friend of the fire department brought a check for a good amount of money, I believe $150,000, and that's how they have this now. So it's 100% donations, 100% fundraising work that's funding this. Really neat.
You can check it out on Saturday, right?
You can check it out on Saturday. You can head to the WBAY Fire Station, and they are doing the first public unveiling. So pretty big deal. You can get your hands on this yourself.
Great story. Thanks for
Fantastic
sharing that
story.
with everybody.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to turn, it's a great safety tool in the area.
right.
And speaking of safety, we're going to head over to Aisha in the First Alert Safety Desk now. And new overnight, Aisha, we're talking about protecting kids from dangers at school. There's a new report out there, right?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot to talk about with this report that I've just heard of this morning, learning that across the country, we know this, it's kind of common sense. We've talked about the anonymous reporting systems where somebody can call in and say there's someone possibly with a gun, somebody is bullying somebody else. This is not just for students, but maybe teachers as well. But this report confirms just that it is working in a lot of ways because so many schools are maybe having those different reporting systems across the country. So again, anonymously reporting things like a gun, suicides, even drugs. I didn't mention that one, but the American Academy of Pediatrics, they say that firearm-related injuries are the leading cause of death among kids. And right here you could see some of the statistics and a little bit more in that report that talks about how it is used in 23 states. I mentioned that, serving over 5 million 6th through 12th grade students every year. And looking at the years 2019, this report is 2019 through 2023. Researchers say over 18,000 anonymous tips were submitted. Can you believe that? In fact, 90% of the tips were by students themselves. 10% of those tips were about guns. More than half of the firearm-related tips were classified as life-threatening. And guys, you probably know this. You remember we've been reporting on this a lot. AAP says more than 50% of U.S. K-12 schools use anonymous reporting to help. And we have one here in Wisconsin, Speak Up, Speak Out. We've talked about that here at the Safety Desk, how important it is. That was created by the state's Department of Justice Office of School Safety. So listen to this one. We first alerted everybody to this too, but Speak Up, Speak Out received over 3,700 anonymous tips last school year. Just so important to protect our kids. And the fact that we know that it is working is some good news this morning.
To see
absolutely.
the impact there that that's making. Kids want to keep each other safe at school.
For sure. And so want to talk now, shifting gears here, another health alert that you're sharing with us this morning, and it has to do with orange juice and the juice. I mean, it's perfect timing on this because we're having it for breakfast.
People probably drinking it right now.
Yeah, I know. I think about all the times that I've grabbed a giant glass of orange juice and just downed it. But it's not necessarily the best thing for you, according to this new study. It's actually a report by JAMA Pediatrics. They took a new analysis of prior studies, and yeah, they found that drinking a full glass of 100% fruit juice of any kind. So it's not just orange juice, it could be apple juice. That was linked to weight gain in both kids and adults. That's important to know. The doctors say it's likely because you can easily gulp down too much of it in one sitting like I've done. So the issue is how the juice impacts your body. You may have heard this before, but fruits have natural sugar that slowly releases into the body. But when you're drinking it as juice, it floods your system. So experts are saying over time, that's really important. Too much sugar in your blood can, lead to insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, heart disease, obesity, the list kind of goes on and on.
It's so important. And I want to say, as a parent, I look for 100% juice
Yes.
because that's better. And I had a tip too to you can dilute that juice too with water.
Yeah, that's
you
always
know,
a good
just
idea. Maybe
little
too much of a good
parenting
thing.
tip.
It just tastes so good.
Yeah, I know. It
tastes
does.
so good.
Moderation, right? We always say
Exactly,
that. We always
exactly.
say that.
Aisha, thank you so much. And we want to take a quick check of traffic with Catherine over in the traffic center. Anything that we're monitoring this morning, Catherine?
Well, first, guys, I want to talk about something that happened yesterday.
This was cool.
Yeah, it was so cool. So I saw this yesterday morning on the traffic camera, and I yelled to Steve. I was like, Steve, what is this? Please help me explain.
And I came running over.
You really helped me understand what this was. So we have video. We first showed this yesterday on our 9 a.m. news, Action 2 News Mid-Morning. So hopefully we can show you that video of what we're talking about. Steve, why does this happen?
Okay, so you know there's industrial areas in downtown Green Bay.
Yeah.
And you could see the steam plume coming across the Leo Frigo Bridge. And you were telling me that this is kind of a deceiving angle because it's kind of looking west, but it's sharply inclined towards the top of the bridge, right?
Right. So it's really not necessarily the middle of the bridge where this is happening, but more on the eastern side.
But as the steam plume comes over, this you know what this is? This is black ice on steroids.
Oh, wow.
Because that steam plume is coming across that frigid highway, and it's just turning into slick spots. And the trees on either side of the road there's rime ice. That's frost that's developing on the branches.
Yeah.
Very slippery situation. Could happen again this morning.
That's what I was going to say. It's not, you can see it's not happening now, but we bring
Not
it up
now.
because it's possible today.
Possible. And not just here, but anywhere where there's steam plumes from industrial areas coming across elevated roadways, drivers have to watch for that.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. We also want to talk about I-43. Crews are going to shut down the northbound lanes entirely between Highway 42, just north of Sheboygan, where you see the red line there, up to County XX in the Cleveland area. They have to remove a semi-trailer from the median there on that stretch. So many vehicles went off the road during that Friday and Saturday storm, and this is a big job. So what they want drivers to do is head north on 42 to XX and then take that back east to I-43. And guys, I just need to say before we wrap up here, a reminder that roads still have lots of ice all over northeast Wisconsin because salt and brine, they just don't work at this temperature. So if that snow and ice wasn't completely cleared away from the storm, or if wind blew it back onto the road, then you know it's still there. It hasn't melted yet.
Yeah, I was just say I did that drive around in Sheboygan County, and yeah, be careful on those side roads, those back roads, and even in the parking lots when you're walking to and from, you know, whether you're going shopping or going into a restaurant, the parking lots too are slippery. I know everybody's doing as much as they can.
You got to be
but it's
careful
just
out there.
the cold temperatures. So
We're going to let Catherine get ready. She's got her cut-in coming up. We'll give you a bird's eye view of the studio. That cut-in will be on Action 2 News as well as on this live stream in a couple of minutes here.
enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe.